Welcome, everyone. Wow, look at all these faces. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and this afternoon for the annual StepUp Impact Luncheon. My name is Emily Walser, and I'm the current board chair, and it is my pleasure to welcome you. And it's also my distinct pleasure to welcome Christopher Edmonston back to the mic, who helped us get everybody seated. And Christopher is the pastor here at White Memorial, for those of you that might not know. And Christopher, if you would be kind enough to open us in prayer this morning.
On the agenda for today, it says I have 2 minutes for this prayer, and usually I double that, so no. Welcome to White Memorial. Welcome to our main hall. We are thrilled that you are here to learn more about StepUp and the transformative work that they do. And that will be the focus of my prayer today. So let us join our hearts and minds and bless this meal and bless this ministry. Let us pray. Oh God, we give you thanks for the many blessings of our lives. Teach us, mend our hearts, that we would take none of them for granted. Like the blessing of being able to share this meal, and like the blessing of being able to learn more about StepUp Ministry and its incredible impact in this community for more than 30 years, and the incredible work that it will continue to do with our help, and, oh Lord, the amazing future that I and we believe you are laying out before it. Bless its staff, bless its board, bless those who support it this day and every day, O Lord, for we make this our prayer in your high and holy name. Amen.
Thank you so much, Christopher. We are going to be serving lunch family style today, so please enjoy breaking bread with your neighbors and new friends and old friends, and our program will start in just a few minutes. Thank you so much.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap twice. If you can hear me, clap 3 times. And if you can hear me, just keep clapping for StepUp. How about that? It didn't take long before I realized the magnitude and layers of impact of this place. For nearly 17 years, I partnered and served thousands of people in this very community through StepUp Ministry. We have built lasting, positive relationships inside these very walls. The goal of StepUp, true transformation for all those involved. My name is Colisha Stanford, and I have the honor and privilege of leading this amazing agency as StepUp's Chief Executive Officer. Imagine, if you will, being down on your luck, stuck. We have all been there before in one way or another. Some of us once or twice. Trying not to focus on our past or our current circumstances, but we long for hope, for a friend, for a resource. And I'm proud to stand here before you today to share that once you walk through the doors of StepUp Ministry, your past is behind you. You have found a place of support, a place where you can start over, a place where you can bond with us without judgment, a place where you can build true friendships and find support. There's a powerful notion that stands true to this day about StepUp Ministry, and that is how we treat and love people. We love people with the compassion and the generosity that they deserve. I recognize many of you from over the years, and I'm so very thankful that you return year after year to support our amazing mission. We're also so very excited to see new faces in the crowd, because we want you, and especially you, hey, to fall in love with our beautiful work here at StepUp. Our mission is to provide pathways for people to overcome barriers and transform their lives. And our vision is to be a safe and thriving community where people have stability, equal opportunity, and purpose. We are drawing more and more people into our work, not because of our amazing looks, but because of the content of what we teach and because of the high level of integrity in which we serve people. We truly love people, all people. and we network for them daily to help them overcome their barriers and help them work towards achieving their goals and living their dreams. There are not many places where you can find people of all races, all ages, and different faiths working together to support each other to eradicate poverty and break generational cycles. StepUp is that place. Now, I want for everyone in this room to understand how StepUp works. We have a proven 3-step effective process that yields lasting positive results through our Employment Academy, our Life Skills Academy, and our Next Steps alumni program. I'd like for each of you to take a moment to read in depth about how our programs work. There are brochures on your table that provide details of how our model works. But right now, in this moment, I want you to see and feel the monumental impact that we have on the families we serve, the volunteers who engage with us, and to hear about the next steps for us. StepUp has existed for 36 years. And for 17 of those years, we have worked in a beautiful 2,200 square foot quaint house right across the street with upwards of 30 people working in and out of there at one point. You heard me right, 2,200 square feet, 30 people, right? And from that limited space, let me give you just a glimpse of how we have persevered and served this community just this year. We are on track to serve over 700 people this fiscal year through our programs. We increased our average placement wage from $16.38 to nearly $17 per hour in our Employment Academy, and that number is steadily rising. We have toured over 200 guests on our Tuesday night programming and processed over 250 volunteer applications. Our focus is constantly to draw people into all aspects of StepUp. We implemented a solid partnership with Wake Tech Community College, which allows each person in our Empower 48 program to enroll in Wake Tech should they choose to do so. We hosted a variety of skills lab classes, which gives our participants options, and we all understand the dignity in choice. We allow our families to choose their own paths, and we thank them for allowing us to partner with them. These classes have included ready-to-rent classes, emotional well-being, self-care, and circle of security parenting. We have hosted or attended 60 outreach events, convened 5 Community Cares collaborative lunches in partnership with the City of Raleigh, with a total attendance of around 300 individuals, representing over 100 organizations. Many of you have heard whispers of StepUp's desire to need and grow. Well, I'm here to confirm for you today that the rumors are true. We want to sow deeper seeds and immerse our roots in this very community so that we may serve families in need in an even deeper capacity. We are constantly building upon our foundation to make StepUp last far beyond our lifetime. For the first time, we are engaging in a deep level program evaluation as we consult with data experts who are helping to guide us in understanding the current and long-term impact our programs have on the participants and families we serve. Understanding this data will ultimately take StepUp to the next level. We're currently putting in the work to assess our current needs, our future needs, including space, and what that looks like for us. And we will need your help, so please stay tuned for more details on that. And if you see me calling, be sure to take my phone call. We also created and implemented our StepUp Ambassador program, which allows participants to deepen their communication skills and grow their leadership capabilities. Following me, you will hear 2 amazing StepUp ambassadors share their own powerful stories in their words from this very stage. I give you Sienna Levy and Timothy Johnson, 2025 StepUp ambassadors.
I walked in the door thinking I made it. I secured a job at a major university in the finance department, and it wasn't entry level. Great pay, great benefits, the kind of opportunity you're told to be grateful for. And I was. Then the whispering started. Why is she taking an Uber to work every day? She's gonna run out of money. Why does she have all of these groceries in the refrigerator and water at her desk? It's a lot of food. Why? Because I was homeless. But my homelessness can't be stereotyped. You see, I wasn't homeless because I was broke. I wasn't homeless because I had mental health issues. I wasn't homeless because I was battling addiction or a victim of domestic violence. I was homeless by choice. You see, when I went into the program with my special needs daughter, I had a plan in the shelter, a strategic plan. You see, I didn't have any family or friends here. I wanted to save money, and I needed access to resources. If you don't appear to have a need, people won't help you. So the shelter was my gateway. But it wasn't easy because it was my daughter who suffered in the shelter, not me. People at work, they didn't understand the daily challenges I was facing every day, so they kept bullying. The New York in me wanted to wild out, but I had to keep my job. And I'm much more professional than that. Regardless of what I was feeling on the inside, I made sure you didn't know about how I looked on the outside. I walked in the room thinking I made it. But making it, it looked like people assuming I was some kind of charity case that just stumbled into the position by mistake. Making it looked like ageism. It looked like racism. It looked like the quiet cruelty of low expectations. Yes, I was grateful for having that job. But the real victory was me showing up and showing out every single day. Even if it meant I had to crawl in uncomfortable spaces just to fit in. I knew I needed more. I knew I could do better. And StepUp was the perfect bridge between where I was and where I'm going. They accepted me. They accepted the raw and uncut version of me. I walked right past them downtown in Moore Square Park. I didn't pay them any mind at first. I actually crossed the street and went next to this church to get some shade. And that's where I met Mr. Jarman. Mr. Jarman, he's the Employment Academy Director for StepUp. Before I had the job at the university, he invited me to the Employment Academy, free training, free breakfast. And I thought to myself, man, he's bold for approaching me. Do I look approachable? I thought, how could he help me get a job? But he didn't know I was marketable. But I was willing to go for the free breakfast. Mr. Jarman, he had a quiet strength. I could feel his wisdom in how he spoke and how he moved. His maturity is what made me listen. But by the second day of being in the program, he had my full attention with the statistics he was dropping, because I'm a math person and it just made sense. I don't like being stereotyped, and here I was stereotyping StepUp, thinking they could only appeal to the marginalized people. Like I wasn't marginalized. I am marginalized, but there's levels to it, and I'm somewhere in the middle. In areas where I thought StepUp couldn't help me, they did, and they could. Unlike the shelter, I didn't have to beg to get any help from StepUp. They did it, and they did it with open arms. They met me in my strength. They made me realize that being poured into meant being held accountable, but with love. The amount of people that impacted my life, it was insane. They were refining me, and the first polishing I ever got was from Mr. Jarman. While I was enrolled in a life skills program, I left that toxic job at the university. But to stay in StepUp, you had to be employed. And suddenly I wasn't. And again, StepUp met me where I was, an entrepreneur. I have a small jewelry business that went from being my side hustle to my main hustle. And StepUp took me serious. They allowed me to verify my income through my licenses and my sales reports, and I didn't miss one day of program. They even had childcare. That's major. They had childcare. And Ms. Dana, the volunteer coordinator, she is the epitome of Southern hospitality. She's the one who sought out a volunteer for my daughter. That played a major role in me completing this program. That volunteer also became my best friend. When I found out she was the mastermind behind getting my daughter the support she needed, it brought tears to my eyes. Dana's love was another polishing. Because I didn't have a car, I would take the bus to StepUp, and I would normally get here about an hour and a half early each day. And I used to go across the street in a church. There was this little room that I used to try to catch a nap in because I didn't have a lot of sleep at the shelter. And there was a building facilities guy by the name of Rick who used to come by. And I just knew for sure he was going to kick me out every time he saw me. But I was so surprised by his casual response. He said, "I'm probably coming back to catch the garbage. If you want, I'll wake you and your daughter up so that y'all don't miss dinner." That safe space, that space I needed to get that rest, it was another polishing. There was this night that we were being assigned co-partners in a life skills program. There was a guy in there who owned a bar, and he was really, really funny. And I just knew for sure he was gonna be paired with me because I'm cool. But instead, I got paired with this older white guy in the corner. Mr. Stanford. Mr. Stanford. I will tell you, I had a lot of thoughts when I found out he was an attorney. He was on the board for StepUp, and he's a member at White Memorial Church. But within 5 minutes after meeting him, I told him my entire life story before he even knew my name. So much for having thoughts, huh? From the start, he understood where I was academically and professionally. We accepted each other for who we were. We never had to change who we were to relate to one another. He held me accountable through the program. He challenged me outside of the curriculum. He never let me lose focus, and he still checks on me. I have a lot of respect and gratitude for him. I just like him, y'all. He's really cool. Being mentored by him was a major polishing, a major polishing. Then there's Mr. Melvin. Currently, he's the program director, but when I joined, he was over the kids program. It was crazy how good he was. For a year, I got to see his greatness from afar because I never had any direct dealings with him. But his approach, his methods, his mannerism, and just to see him do what he do, it was insane. Watching Mr. Melvin was like witnessing alignment between passion and purpose. If I had a son, I would want him to have a father like Melvin. And what stood out about Mr. Melvin is he never changed his demeanor. He never changed his style. He has a reputation for following up, following through, showing up and showing out. I've seen him in action. I've watched him with my own eyes. And it set the foundation and the trust to build up that confidence when I was an alumni to finally approach him. Because there was a time when I was fighting and battling doctors from giving my daughter these labels with her developmental delay, and it was only one person I can call and one person I could trust, and it was Mr. Melvin. I needed help with that, and he was a safe space. Melvin didn't know how challenging it was for me to approach him. I have a lot of pride and a big ego. And his trustworthiness, it was another polishing, a major, major polishing. And I'm thankful for that. I got exactly what I needed and more from StepUp. They gave it to me with open arms. Through StepUp, I completed the Wake Tech's entrepreneurship program, Operation Hope's small development training, Toastmasters, and so much more. Now I'm one semester away from earning my bachelor's degree in anthropology. My business is growing. My daughter is thriving. I have a peaceful home. And I'm honored to serve as one of the ambassadors here at StepUp. But honestly, it was the small acts of kindness that I received from StepUp that meant more to me than any certificate they could have gave me, any check, any title. It was how I was seen, how I was supported, and how it was a safe space for me to just be myself. Society may not think I'm rich, but I am. Richness isn't measured by money. It's something that's carried within. And as for me, I'm a diamond. I'm a diamond that StepUp helped shine through. The gifts that they've given me, such as building healthy mentorships with men, something I never had as a child. Helping me to build community and expand my network and amplify my presence, amplify my power, amplify my purpose. And just simply a safe space to let my guard down and be myself. Sometimes all it takes is one person to see your worth. But StepUp, they gave me a whole room of that. It's that kind of love, that kind of investment that doesn't just build character, it builds a legacy, and that's priceless. Whenever I ask God for a blessing, He places a gateway before me, and I have to go through it before I get my gift. And when I entered StepUp, I was already on that journey, traveling alone with my daughter, who has special needs. And it was difficult. But I chose to keep my eyes on the promise and not the pain. But I'm not on that journey alone anymore. StepUp, they helped transform me. And that's hard for me to say, because when I walked through the door, I thought I was whole, but I wasn't. They poured into me and rebuilt what life was breaking down, and that was my consistency, my discipline, and the love I had for myself. And when StepUp pours in, they keep pouring, it overflows. It's not a one-time blessing, it's just a bunch of blessings. StepUp reminded me that sometimes growth happens quietly, and the strength that you build is by just stepping up. For all that StepUp does in our lives and in our community, what can you do for them today? We are all uncut stones, all of us. And in the right hands, with the right amount of pressure, we can turn rough edges into brilliance. So will you guys help polish the next stone? Thank you.
I inserted the key into the deadbolt lock of my barracks door I snapped it off so no other key could go in. While authorities wasted time trying to get inside, I'd be long gone. I put the heavy military rucksack on my back, jumped on my motorcycle, and cranked it to life. I was officially AWOL, absent without leave. Years before, I'd committed a crime, and it had caught up to me. Military investigators had the evidence, and they brought me in for questioning. They restricted me to base and laid out the trajectory of my consequences. My days as a free man were numbered. I knew it, and I was scared. Scared enough to leave everyone I loved and everything I had behind. What scares me these days is rejection. I'm afraid, right here, right now. I'm terrified. So why? Why dig up something that's best left buried? Because it's not buried. It's encrusted. It's just scabbed over. And every time I brush against it, even lightly, it bleeds again. It oozes. This process has been a real exposure. Like when a surgeon cuts into a patient looking for an infection, shines a light, probes, and explores. And as I'm poking these places in me that have been covered by scar tissue for decades, it hurts. But on the other side, there's glory. There's redemption. It's a gruesome healing process, but it's beautiful. And I'm showing up for it. In 12-step programs, they encourage you to do the next right thing. So for me, standing here, opening up and sharing and facing my fears is the next right thing for me. The results of me sharing is not up to me. It's not mine to control. It's up to God. Mine is the obedience to walk in. Now, as I was on the run, I'd make my way through back roads to avoid getting caught. I'd park my motorcycle in desolate woods. As I approached toll booths, would lean my motorcycle as far as I could and ravenously scoop up every nickel, dime, and quarter that I could find. I was desperate. All because I was trying to avoid the consequences of my actions. I've resolved to not avoid things. I've resolved to stop being afraid. I choose to be bold and courageous. So I'm opening up because I want you and you and you and him and her and them to know that you can overcome a thing, even a shameful thing, and be redeemed. And if there's redemption for me, then there's redemption for you. And you. And you and her and him and them. Now, what brought me out of my confused and terrified state while I was on the run was a friend and former supervisor, a mentor. I traveled all the way across the United States on the run for his help. And he listened and he heard me. But then he gave me a reality check. You need to turn yourself in, face it, and deal with the consequences no matter what happens. And then it's done. Afterwards, you can go on and live your life. Still scared, I kept running. But another voice of reason sealed the deal. I would listen to talk radio. Particularly, I liked the Michael Reagan radio program. He's the son of former President Ronald Reagan. And one day on his show, he opened up his childhood trauma and the aftermath. He put it out there in the open and faced it. Moved, I called in and actually spoke to him. And he encouraged me to face my demons. And he reassured me, like my supervisor did, that if I continued along this path, I would experience a life of perpetual suffering. His advice was the same. Turn yourself in and deal with it, and then put it behind you. So I did. I called my commander, and I rode to the nearest air base and surrendered. And as I faced my punishment for my actions, what I dreaded most never came to pass. What I knew for certain would happen didn't. And that's God's grace. And through God's grace, I finished my time in the Air Force with an honorable discharge. But life wasn't happily ever after from there. You see, 17 years later, and 7 years ago, this was the state of my life. I had already been divorced twice and was facing divorce a third time. I needed a car. I was working as a server at IHOP. I was struggling. I couldn't make ends meet. And then I heard about Wheels for Hope, a program where you could apply to get a car at a deeply discounted price, if any. But you had to be referred by a sponsoring agency. I saw StepUp on that list. So I called, made an appointment. They said, yeah, we'll refer you after you complete our life skills course. Life skills? I have life skills. I was a non-commissioned officer in the United States Air Force. I was a former staff sergeant. I led troops. I went through leadership academies. I had a bachelor's degree. I even went through seminary. I used to be the director of Christian education at a prominent church. I know life skills. I raised 3 kids. I was a mentor to several others. Heck, I even taught mentors how to be mentors. I don't need to take a class on life skills. got this. Then I started to think, if you're such a know-it-all, Mr. Smart Guy, why don't you have your life together? Why is your bank account overdrawn? Why don't you have any savings? Why is your electricity about to be turned off? See, there was a disconnect between what I intellectually knew and how I lived it out in my life. So I swallowed my pride, I shut my mouth, and I opened my mind. I enrolled, and I was accepted. And that was the beginning of my journey with StepUp. The program took place over 50 Wednesdays, an entire year of my life. But it wasn't just a year of my life. The staff, volunteers, the community leaders, they all gave a year of their lives too. It literally took a tribe. One of the best parts of the Life Skills program was that you get a co-partner, a mentor, someone to walk beside you, someone to show up for you each and every week, and someone to care. My mentor, John, was there for me during that process, and he's still here for me today. See, what brought me to StepUp was that I needed a car. But looking deeper, I didn't just need transportation. I needed transformation. I needed hope. Partners. I needed revitalization of the person I once was, but had lost myself when I fell into that ditch. StepUp offered me that hand up and that push forward that I needed. Now, I abide, not only in the law of the land, sir, but in the loving hands of God, who wets the clay of my life and remolds me. And during that time, he used StepUp as his hands on the potter's wheel. Now I'm married to my bride and joy, Danielle, a woman of immense grace. She's my safe haven. And we're not only married, but we're business partners. We own a dog grooming salon. And we're disciples striving to live out our calling. By the way, I grew up in a valueless home. My father wasn't there for us, and my mother was absent in many ways. It was a climate of misaligned morals. And without my dad there, I didn't have that guidance, that masculinity. I wish I would have gotten it, but I didn't. But through God's help, I father differently than I was fathered. Recently, I started mentoring our son, our youngest son, into adulthood. And Danielle and I asked him before we started, how did you think you would make this transition? He said, I just guessed I'd figure it out on my own. No, we told him. We love you too much to leave it to chance. For too long, I tried to figure out life on my own too. But God interceded and reminded me that he loves me too much to leave it to chance. I'm on a journey of healing and self-forgiveness. And sometimes it's hard to reconcile who I was then with who I am now and where I'm going in the future. It is a healing process. And it's grueling. Healing isn't easy. It's hard, but it's beautiful. And I'm showing up for it. I'm not alone, even though it feels lonely sometimes. We are not alone. There is fellowship right here at StepUp. Even in people you don't know, you have a tribe willing to help you. And as part of that tribe, you can help too. The question is how? Is it to serve? Is it to participate? Is it to give? Is it to give more generously than you intended to give when you walked through that door? Whatever your interactions with your StepUp tribe, I'm here to encourage you. Be open. Be real. Be raw. Even be unmasked. Because in your authenticity and your generosity, you're transforming lives, especially your own.
Sienna asked you to keep polishing diamonds out there because you, my dear, are a diamond. Timothy asked you to be real and raw and unmasked. Be a part of the tribe. I'll continue to be a part of your tribe, Timothy. I'll work hard to bring more people into StepUp. I'm asking you to take a moment. Let everything you just heard sink in. I'm overwhelmed by the courage and authenticity we just saw on this stage. Sienna and Timothy, the fruit of why StepUp exists. Thank you. Please take a moment to locate the pledge card on your table or the QR code on your program. This is called the Impact Luncheon for a reason. Sienna and Timothy have helped us see the impact StepUp has had on their lives. It's up to you how much impact you would like to make on the lives of others. And before you make your very generous gift, we've received word that a special donor will match all donations made by new donors up to $10,000. We have some staff members who are standing by with baskets to accept your generous supporter pledges. Your table captains who are sitting at the table with you as well may also take your envelopes. Guests sitting at my two tables, staff will make their way around as well. Thank you for your support. Help us continue to meet people where they are so that we can walk alongside them on their path of excellence. Please take a moment to give generously. I'll wait. Timothy and Sienna, please stand. Thank you for being our first ever StepUp ambassadors. Thank you for the love and dedication to StepUp. It's okay. It's all right. You can cheer for them. In closing, I want to give honor to the Most High God, the maker and creator of all, whose divine intervention has made this moment possible for StepUp. I extend a warm thank you to Christopher Edmondson, who is the pastor of this supportive and loving church, all the clergy, staff, and members of White Memorial Church. I want to thank all the congregational and corporate sponsors listed in your program, and to thank our volunteer table captains who invited each of you here today. Thank you for believing in the StepUp mission enough to share it and bring others to be a part of this community. A special thank you to our fabulous volunteer support person, Sarah Beth Thompson. Where's Sarah Beth Thompson? Sarah Beth helped to make this beautiful space possible and more perfect for us today, so thank you. And to all the volunteers who showed up early, assisted with registration, wayfinding, filled water glasses, plated food, and who will stay to help us clean up. Thank you to our dedicated board members who give freely of their time, talents, energy, and resources to advance StepUp's mission. Thank you to the caring and committed 18-member staff and the 200-plus active volunteers who work tirelessly alongside us to make a positive difference in the lives of adults and children each day. And finally, thank you to each and every person in this room. You made the choice to be here with us today, to support this amazing place. And we cannot continue our work without you. We're truly grateful. Our 2025 Impact Luncheon is dedicated to our angel and forever friend, Felicia Barr. May she rest in peace and truly watch over us and guide us as we continue to advance the mission of StepUp, an agency that she helped build and a place that she wholeheartedly loved and supported. 1 Corinthians 13:13 says, "And now these three remain, faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love." Here at StepUp, we have faith in our mission. We have hope for the people we serve, but most important, we love them. May the grace of God and the peace of the Lord rest, rule, and abide over each of you. Amen.